Next up, we have Haley Marvine from Radford University. Haley is a local Atlanta girl, and I've had the pleasure of coaching her at Chattahoochee. She graduated there in 2007, so we're fortunate to have her back to speak to us. Yes. Men's room is a single, so plan ahead, gentlemen. All right, good morning, everyone. As Coach DeFazio said, I'm Haley Marvine. I'm the brand new head coach at Radford University in Virginia, and I'm starting their Division I women's program there. When I was driving up here, realized that it was about this time, 11 years ago, that I started and even heard of lacrosse for the first time. So I'm a little bit different than some of the other coaches that you guys have heard from today. When John was talking about, do you remember 1997? I do remember 97, and I think I did the math and I was in the 4th grade. So again, I got a little bit of a non-traditional start, as I'm sure some of you in this room have gotten a non-traditional start into this sport. So what I'm going to talk about today for you guys is how you can prepare the athletes that you have, whether they're middle school, JV, varsity, for playing on at the collegiate level. Okay, so collegiately, most of you guys have heard, obviously, of the NCAA. So we want to talk about, for this first slide, the kinds of opportunities that are available for the student athletes on your team. So first of all, there's the NCAA. Within the NCAA, there's 3 different divisions. Okay, the 3 coaches that you all have heard from today are Division I. When you guys turn on football, when you guys are watching Georgia, when you're watching Georgia Tech, those are the Division I programs. Okay, Division II, those are going to be some usually smaller schools, but still schools that offer athletic scholarships. I know Limestone and I believe Young Harris are some local schools that are Division II. Division III, which is where I was formerly coaching, still within the NCAA, it's actually our largest division. There's now over 270 Division III women's lacrosse programs in the country. Those are going to be your smaller schools. Oglethorpe, where we are right now, Berry College, north of here, those are Division III. NAI is a completely different governing body. So separate from the NCAA, they do offer athletic scholarships for their athletes. Okay, and they compete in just one division altogether. And then from there, there's club teams. So the biggest difference as far as club is that your athletes are going to have to pay to participate. Some schools have tryouts, some don't. The NAI, the NCAA, those are going to be the teams where the school is funding the team and the program. So at the bottom there, when I say that there's a post-collegiate opportunity for every athlete on your team, I really do mean that. With all the startup Division III programs, or if it's Northwestern or a top 20 program, there is an opportunity if there's kids on your team that want to play at the next level. Your role in this. So many of you in the room might have never played college lacrosse. You might not have ever even played high school lacrosse. So your role in getting these kids to this next level is definitely a unique one, but it's also very important. So I kind of broke it down into 4 different parts. Your role as a coach. What can you do as their coach to get them ready to play at a higher level of lacrosse? Their mentor. You know, what else is going on with that kid socially? What kind of person are they to help them find the right fit for not only the place where they're going to play in college, but the place where they're going to attend school? Third is the liaison. Okay, recruiting has changed. I'm sure all the coaches that you've heard speak today, we have juniors and maybe even sophomores who are verbally committed to come play for us now. Because of NCAA rules, we need a liaison between ourselves and those players, and a lot of times that's going to be you as their high school or club coach. And last, a marketer. As Eve spoke about, she's from Philadelphia. It's a hotbed, and there's tons and tons of colleges right in the Philadelphia area. In Georgia, it's growing. You're seeing college programs with Kennesaw State, Berry College, Oglethorpe. These are all recent within the past 5 years. So that exposure is there, but the majority of the programs are out of state. So they need someone to help market these players to us college coaches so that we're getting to see these kids play. Okay, so coaching. How many of you in the room either grew up playing or coaching a sport other than women's lacrosse? You already have a head start. I know this is this weird sport with this small ball and this stick with a net at the end of it. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're not doing anything that you shouldn't already be able to bring your past coaching experiences into. I started playing lacrosse in the 9th grade, okay? Like many goalies, I got started because they needed a goalie. At my first practice, one of my coaches, who, God bless her, she was awesome, and I think she was somebody's mom. She told me, since I was so tall, that I should stand in the goal with my legs really straight and be as tall as possible. And I came home, and I'm telling my dad, who's a football coach, okay, Dad, this is how they told me to, do this goalie thing, right? And he's looking at me, and he's like, Haley, that can't be right. And I'm like, no, Dad, she's a lacrosse coach. She told me to stand like this, I'm gonna do it. And he was like, Haley, what other sport in the world have you seen someone stand, like this, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm going, all right, Dad, I'll be nice to the coach, but I'll do what you told me to. So my stance ended up looking more like I was playing defense in basketball than standing up nice and straight. So what I'm trying to say is, if you hear something from coaches or, you're online trying to figure out everything, remember the basics of athletics. It's body movement. It's fundamental things. It's following through, just like you would catch a baseball. When I get kids that are this big and want me to teach them how to play lacrosse, a lot of times with girls, nobody ever taught them how to throw a ball at all. So we start out playing catch with our hands, okay? Because it's the same thing. Again, we're not reinventing the wheel. I know it's new. I know sometimes it looks weird because we're throwing the stick into it. It's just sports. Defense is defense. Coaching is coaching. Okay? To prepare your kids for the next level, coach the entire game. Okay? Defenses, rides, goalkeepers, their left hand. Okay? What I'm seeing a lot is usually maybe your backups, your second hand kids, those kids are using their right and left. It's that best player on your team. The kid who can score because she's faster and bigger than everyone, she's got no left hand because she doesn't have to have it. But when she gets to college, she's got to have that left hand. Okay? So coach all facets of the game. Drill, drill, drill. Okay? I know it's not fun. Your kids are going to, what's the #1 request we get at practice, right? Can we scrimmage today, coach? Scrimmaging is great, and there's a lot of things you can learn from playing that you can't learn from anything else. But to get these kids ready for the next level, these fundamentals that we're preparing them for, they have to be habits. And in order for them to be habits, we have to drill. Okay? Fundamentals, again, there should be a section, a portion of each practice every day, whether it's middle school girls at Chattahoochee or if it's UNC Division I that is dedicated to those fundamentals of the game. Conditioning. If you have girls on your team who want to compete at the next level, I'm relying on you to help get them in shape. Okay? You can do a disservice to your team when they go out to these summer tournaments, getting done with your season, and they're out of shape. Okay? So make that a part of practice every day. Stay current. We're so lucky to be in a sport that is experiencing such extreme, rapid growth. You as a coach have to stay current. Okay? You have to stay up to date with the rules. The rules are changing every year. Okay? NCAA lacrosse. What are the new programs out there? What are they doing? Okay, practice planning with a purpose. And luckily John touched on this a little bit for you guys. Each day that you plan your practice, there should be a purpose. Don't just run drills to run drills. Don't just practice to get better. Okay, you're not going to get better if you're just going out there and going through the motions. Okay? You should be planning days in advance. Things will change, right? Maybe you didn't get through your whole plan the day before. Be ready to adapt, but also have a plan. Each day's practice should roll into the next day. Prioritize. We only have 2 hours, maybe just an hour and a half. Maybe it's just an hour and then the JV comes. You have to prioritize the things that you know are most important for your team and put the most of your time there. If you don't have a practice plan, your girls will know. If you are unorganized, your team will know. We're also lucky to coach a sport where we have a lot of smart kids on our team. Okay? A lack of planning will create a lack of faith in the coaching staff. Okay, when we're looking at the warm-up portion, so first we want a physical warm-up, right? And a stick work warm-up. I kind of put them together with my teams, okay? Just because it's kind of the same philosophy for both. They need to be quick and high tempo, mostly for you as a coach, because I know, I'm sitting there always asking my assistants, like, aren't they done stretching yet? And I feel like it's, been at 20 minutes. It has to be high tempo. Keep it the same every day, okay? Add elements of competition. That's gonna help the girls get focused. I'm sure a lot of you, when you go tell your girls to stretch, what does it look like? A big circle and a lot of talking, right? In order to don't believe me, you're not gonna get rid of the talking. But in order to kind of help facilitate a better warm-up, get them on the move. Get them running, get them jogging through things. The more out of breath they are, right, the less they can talk. Everything with stick work should be on the move, even the warm-up, okay? And this is mostly the varsity coaches that I'm talking to. I know sometimes at middle school we do have to do the stationary stick work. Nothing frustrates me more than standing and partner passing, okay? I have never once recruited a girl because she was really good at standing still and catching. They're gonna drop the ball. They're gonna drop the ball a lot. But they'll never be able to catch it while they're moving until they drop it a few times first. Okay, so any type of stick work warm-up that you would do, and believe me, even with my teams, I coach almost all freshmen, some days it's really ugly at the beginning, okay? But you have to get them on the move, okay? That translates to everything that we do in our game. Fundamentals. Again, there should be a section in your practice every day for fundamentals. Stick work, right hand, left hand, transitional work, ground balls. And here's what's gonna happen because it's happened to me. Your team gets good at it, okay? They're gonna get really good at ground balls. When I set out my first college coaching job, I knew that I had kind of a ragtag bunch of young kids, and so I knew we had to be good at kind of the dirty work and the ground balls. And every day we would spend 10 to 15 minutes of ground balls. And halfway through the season, I was like, we're really good at ground balls. And so we stopped doing it. And then I got to a game and we couldn't pick up a ground ball to save our lives. So as good as you think you've gotten at something, those fundamentals and that warm-up, stick with it every day. You can't be too good at that. Okay, implementing your systems. You have to start small, just like John was talking about. And when we practice plan with a purpose, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, we're gonna start, let's say we wanna run a backer defense. We can't run a backer until we can run a really good help man. Okay, until we can play really, really good one-on-one defense. So start small in order to implement your system. Evaluate your kids. At the beginning of every season, look at the group you have and say, what are we good at? There was this big phenomenon a few years ago when Northwestern had all of their success. And I saw a lot at the high school and even middle school level, these coaches running these crazy high-pressure defenses. And Northwestern, when I would watch them run these defenses, it blew my mind too. I thought it was awesome. But if you have a bunch of kids that are running 10-minute miles and you're pressing way out on the other team, you're not going to be successful. Okay? So you have to look at the skills. What do we have? Are we big? Are we experienced? Are we fast? Are we smart? Take what you have and then say, what offense will work for us? What defense will work for us? And go from there. Even where I am right now at Radford, starting a program, I get questions a lot from parents and prospective student athletes saying, what are you going to run? What defense are you going to run? What offense are you going to run? I have a few ideas, but until I have those 25, 30 girls that I know like the back of my hand, I don't know what I'm going to run. And if I did know, I'd be pretty silly, and I better be a really specific recruiter. Mentor. So when we're recruiting student athletes, there's so much more that we're looking at than just their skills, okay? And this is where you can help them as a coach. Identify those players at a young age that have a desire to play at the college level. Figure out from them, what are potential majors that they want to study? You know, if they have a C in biology, maybe nursing isn't the route we should look at. You know, get them on track for something that they're passionate about, because not every school has a nursing major or an engineering major. Those might rule out some of their potential offers in the future. SATs and ACTs, academics as a whole. You know, growing up in high school, I was a B, sometimes C student, okay? My high school coaches helped me rule out that Vanderbilt and Notre Dame probably weren't gonna be schools that I was gonna be very successful at. Okay, it's okay to have those conversations and start talking with your players about what kind of schools are going to be a good fit for them academically. Social. Is this a kid that's going to be successful at a big school? Or do they maybe need smaller class sizes, a more intimate environment? What's their level of dedication like? At the Division I level, I think a lot of us coaches have seen the kid who has the skill. They have everything. I had teammates at Division I who had these, you know, they were the fastest kid on the team. They had the best stick work. I desired to have some of these skills that they had, but they didn't have the level of dedication that it takes to play at the Division I level. No one is gonna know this the way that you do. And that's why a lot of times you all will get calls from us, because that's what we wanna know. What is their level of dedication? And if you have a young lady on your team who maybe wants to play soccer and lacrosse in college, or cheerleading, or you know, they want to be pre-med, talk to them about, you know, what kind of school and what kind of program can fit along with those other goals that they have. Do they just want to play and have fun? You know, do they not want to worry about practicing every day? Maybe a club opportunity is what will suit them best. Low pressure approach. Keep it fun. The only reason I played college lacrosse is because I had a lot of fun playing high school lacrosse. Okay? It was a game. I enjoyed going to practice and playing with my teammates. I didn't have a lot of pressure on me. I was very lucky. You know, I did it because I thought it was fun, and if I was good enough to keep doing it, I was going to keep doing it and having fun as long as I could. Expose them to NCAA games young. You guys are lucky now, and there's no more excuses of Georgia, you know, being this island of lacrosse where we couldn't get the exposure. You guys can drive 20 minutes and go see Kennesaw State games. Okay, you can go see Berry College. You can go see Limestone. Okay, take your teams to go see these games. How can they know if that's something that they want to be a part of if they've never seen it? How to help. All of the athletes on your team, in most cases, especially for those of you at public schools, are all coming from different kinds of backgrounds. Some of them have tremendous parental support. Some of their parents are already going to have them recruited. Okay? Some of them might have a single parent who works full-time, who doesn't have the type of time to work on this recruiting process. They're going to need you more. So these are the resources, collegeboard.org. It's a great website. It has the tuition, the majors, the financial aid of any college in the country. Okay? Questionnaires. Every college team in the country, if you go to their website, they're going to have a little link that says recruiting profile, recruiting questionnaire, just for recruits, something like that. They can go on and fill that out. What that's going to do is send their information directly to the coaches. Okay? So I always tell girls that are hoping to get recruited, especially in this area, go on there. Get your name to that coach. Okay, get in their system. They're going to send you stuff about camps and clinics, meetings. Meet with your players. Your players that have said that they have this desire to play at the next level, meet with them. Get to know their goals. Get to figure out how you can help them get to the next level. Engage their parents in this. If their parents are willing to be engaged in this process, talk to their parents. Liaison. Communication with college coaches. I know this is something that is probably either very exciting for you or very daunting for you. What's appropriate and what's not. The biggest thing when communicating with college coaches, we're either going to call you or the club coach, and the main reason why we're calling you is because we've already decided that this kid is good. We've already decided that they have the skills. I want to know from you what kind of kid they are. You're with them every day, okay? And the biggest thing I want from you is the truth. Because in order for your high school program to become, maybe in Georgia, what the Milton is good relationships with these college coaches. And that's going to come from honesty, okay? If you have a girl and I call you and you know that she gets yellow cards in every game, that she only, she shows up 20 minutes late to practice, I want to know that. Because if you send me that kid and I trust you, and it turns out maybe she wasn't the kind of person you told me she was, I'm going to have a hard time recruiting from your high school again. Okay? So I know it's tough and we want these girls to go on to play, but we just want the truth. And that's why we're calling you. So that's how we're going to build trust with the college coaches. NCAA recruiting rules. Again, I'm talking about involving you guys, and to some of you that might be strange. But we're recruiting younger and younger. And that's kind of the world that us coaches are living in. Because of the NCAA rules that affect us and our communication with your athletes, we need that liaison to help communicate between the two of us. There's a website there, the IWLCA has a very quick recruiting guide. What this is also going to answer some questions on for you all is, if you have a sophomore who's going to all these tournaments in the world, or parents have her playing on 2 different club teams, and she's not getting any calls from college coaches, and she's like, why is nobody calling me? Well, it's illegal for us to call her. Okay, so those kind of things, those resources will help you kind of talk to your players about what stage they are at the process, and what kind of rules will apply to them. Make yourself available year-round. This is something as a college coach has been really, really tough for me, is that, in the state of Georgia, I know that at least one coach on the team has to be a high school teacher. Okay, teachers are used to having your summers off. I do most of my recruiting over the summer. Okay, so that's when I'm usually contacting and reaching out to these high school coaches. Please, at least by email, be available year-round. Okay, it might be a 5-minute phone call. I'm not, I know you can't coach them, but be available to not only us as college coaches, but also your girls for this recruiting advice year-round. Marketer, clubs and camps. So lacrosse has now evolved into this world that I hope kind of changes and stops mirroring what soccer is now, where clubs rule the world, right? And now in Georgia, I honestly couldn't name how many clubs there are here now. What's the best fit? What is the best club? I don't know. And it depends on your kid. Because from what I've seen in the clubs in the Atlanta area, there's some that are going to cost $3,000 a summer and some that are going to cost $400 a summer. They can all get that kid to the same place, okay? It's all about what the parents can afford and what the student athlete wants from that experience. I'm not saying either club is good or bad. If I were you and in your shoes, I would present all the options to these kids. Because at the end of the day, the more lacrosse they play, no matter where it is, the better their chances are at playing at the next level. Why is playing in club important? Because it's year-round lacrosse. And you guys know this better than anyone. Because when I was in college, right around this time, right before lacrosse tryouts, I would do private lessons with a lot of the girls from my old high school. January and February is when I get the most phone calls. Over the summer, I try to do private lessons with kids. Nobody's got time. Right before tryouts, all of a sudden we remember that we have lacrosse again. Okay, so this is taking that out. The club is helping them play year-round and get exposed at tournaments to college coaches that can see them and potentially offer them a spot on their roster. Contacting college coaches. I think potentially the main reason why I was recruited from Georgia in 2007, which is a lot different than Georgia in 2015 in the lacrosse world is because of film. My high school, back in 2004 through 2007, filmed every one of our varsity games. It was because of that film and my ability to send it to coaches in California, Ohio, New York, that those coaches were able to see me play, okay? Not every coach is gonna be at every tournament. Maybe my parents don't have the money to have me play club, but they have the money, and the coaches and these teams have the money to get these games filmed. It doesn't have to be a fancy highlight film. Actually, I would prefer if it wasn't. Just needs to be the game film, okay? I know it might sound silly to some of you, but if you're not using film in your program already, and I could talk to you more about this, I could probably talk to you about film all day, get on it now. Okay, this is gonna really help your kids play at the next level, and actually reviewing that film will help you and your team now. Have your kids create a list, okay? If that student athlete comes to you as a freshman or sophomore and says, Coach, I wanna play college lacrosse, they need to start a list. Just like any guidance counselor in the country would tell them to create a college list, schools where they could see themselves. Okay, have those reach schools. Maybe it's UNC, maybe it's Notre Dame, that place that you would just die to play at, and then maybe some local teams, some smaller teams that you know are trying to fill a roster, okay? Talk through that list with those girls. Talk to them about what playing at that college might mean. Award nominations. A lot of these are solely on you as coaches. And again, unfortunately, high school lacrosse coaching is not a full-time job, right? We're all doing other things, we're all working other jobs. So I know you're busy. These awards, this All-American, All-State, you know, making the Brine national team and getting to go to the tournament, those are so important to your young women, and they're so important to us as college coaches. And the nominations have to come from you, okay? So when the nomination time rolls around, my advice to you would be, nominate as many kids as you can, okay? Don't forget your defenders and goalies. Those kind of awards are, again, gonna help those kids attract the attention from the college coaches. This is something I get asked still to this day. When I tell people and they ask me where I'm from, where did I grow up, and they expect me to say Baltimore or Long Island. And I'm not from even close to those places. They ask me, you know, what is lacrosse in Georgia like? Are there, you know, is there stuff going on there still? And people here, when I coach at clinics in Georgia, you know, one of the #1 questions I get asked from parents is, how hard is it to get recruited out of Georgia? The answer is, it's not. The days of Georgia not being a hotbed are gone. And if you don't believe me, go look at Northwestern's roster. Go look at USC's roster. Go look at the top 20 Division I programs in the country. And I guarantee you, at least 15 of them have at least one girl from the Peach State on their team. Okay, so hopefully that provides you all with the confidence that not only are those opportunities out there, we want your kids. Okay, college coaches are coming to Georgia and recruiting because we want your student athletes. These are some of the most frequently asked questions that I get asked from high school coaches. Okay, the first one that I get asked lots and lots, I'm sure we all do, all of us college coaches, is what are you looking for in an athlete? And it goes back to the coaching part that I talked about. We're looking for the complete player, okay? And this is where you guys come in. If you have never run a press, if you've never run a ride, I'm probably not going to recruit your attacker because I'm looking for that complete player. I'm looking for the girl who can score the goals and then cause the turnover to get the ball back for our team, okay? Social, mindset, again, I'm looking for that dedication. Sure, she's good enough to play Division I, but does she want to? Is she self-motivated? Hey, is she causing problems on your team? Skills, okay, that's the easy one. Is she good enough to play at this level? And then being open to playing any position. The majority of the girls that I recruit to come play on any of my teams at any level I've coached at were middies in high school, okay? Because I know two things if they played middie in high school. Most likely they were probably one of the fastest kids on their team, and they know how to play offense and defense, okay? So talk to your players about being open to playing a new position, okay? Does being from Georgia hurt my chances? Again, no. As long as we have the marketing portion of this, as long as we're getting ourselves out there, whether it's playing club, playing camps, being from Georgia will not hurt you. Should I focus on lacrosse and quit my other sports? This fall, for our new program, I signed 12 high school seniors to come in and play Division I lacrosse for me next year. Of those 12, all 12 were dual sport athletes, if not 3 sport athletes in high school, okay? And when we come to Georgia and when we're recruiting your girls, this is what we want. Because if you look at an SEC track team roster, or if you look at an SEC football roster or soccer roster, where are a lot of those star kids from? They're from Georgia. They're from here. If you turn on the Olympics, okay, some of those best Olympic athletes are from Georgia. We're coming here and we're recruiting here because we don't want just your lacrosse players. We want the best athletes in the country, and that's why we're coming here, okay? The most successful high school programs that I know, again, they're encouraging their kids to play at least 2 sports in high school. Not only that, let the college coaches that are recruiting you know about those other sports, okay? To me, if I get a kid's recruiting resume, it is so attractive to me to see that she was an all-state track runner, she starting forward on her basketball team, you know, and she's the leading scorer of her lacrosse team. Because I know that kid is an athlete. She's a competitor. She loves to play. When should I begin the recruiting process? Again, some of you coaches in here, you know, you might be middle school coaches. Why are we talking about recruiting? The recruiting process starts as early as that kid can decide that they want to play college lacrosse. That could be in 7th grade. It could be their senior year in high school, okay? If they want to play at a scholarship level, Division I or II, okay, most likely they need to start thinking about this process as a freshman in high school. That doesn't mean they're going to get an offer as a freshman in high school. It just means that we need to start doing the things that are going to get us there as early as possible. And then again, I'm here to help. As someone local, every college team that I have coached, I've had at least 3 Georgia kids on my roster. Okay, it's, you know, again, something that I'm passionate about. I know there's good lacrosse here. I know there's really good kids here. So if there's ever anything I can do, if you guys want to talk more about practice planning, if you want to talk more about recruiting and how to move on to the next level, feel free to contact me.
Just a couple questions. Sorry, right here.
My question is, I have 6 seniors, so this is our first time ever to go into varsity, first season ever. So, what do I, and I have potentially 2. I know one, in fact, she plays on varsity basketball in our high school. She came to me when she was a sophomore when we started our program. She didn't want to, I mean, she still wants to play basketball, but she wants lacrosse as her career sport. So she's a senior now, and you know, what do I do? Like,
Yeah. So for the senior, her question was about seniors. For the seniors, your best bet, Division II and III. So I would have a conversation with that young woman about, is she willing to look at schools other than UGA and Auburn? You know, is she willing to look at a Berry College, a Limestone, Newberry? And I would look through those schools with her, because those Division III coaches, especially because I was one of them, they're recruiting seniors right now, actively. So that would be my question to them is, do they want the big school experience still? If so, the answer might be going to Georgia Tech and playing club or whatever it is. But if they want to play NCAA lacrosse, there's absolutely opportunities for them. It's just most likely going to be a Division II or III.
Right.
Yes.
Question, you were talking about how you like multi-sport athletes and you recruit them. The message we heard throughout the country to the coaches were, this is a 12-month sport that you have to do. You have to do conditioning, you have to do volleyball, you have to be fit, you have to be competitive, you got to play summer club, you got to do all that. How do you balance that? I mean, it seems kind of a contradiction to say play other sports, but also be a 12-month lacrosse player too.
Sure. I think, John and Eve were definitely referring to once they get to us, then they're a 12-month lacrosse player. But as far as the high school and stuff, I see it as a positive because yes, they might miss fall conditioning for lacrosse, but if they're playing soccer, my bet is they're probably going to be even better shape than your lacrosse kids. It's also something that this is my philosophy. Every coach is going to have different philosophies on this, but I personally think that you can learn things in those other sports that kids aren't necessarily getting in